So, what do we say at the beginning or the end of every YouTube video? Doesn't matter who's writing the video. You know, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll add this to it, and I'll be really blessed. Okay, so we don't normally say, or I'll be really blessed, or then I'll be really blessed. But I want to talk about blessings today. So I thought of some goofy way to do that to help us to get into whispering heights, hearing the words of God spoke to us. And they're not like, share, or subscribe. I hope you will, but they won't get you there. But the words of God can bring us to blessing. But what in the world is a blessing, anyhow? I hear this all the time, everywhere I go. Be blessed, be blessed. You go to the grocery store and someone says to you, say, have a nice day. And you say, oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And I always think, well, what is that supposed to mean? And is that someone, trying to say something from the Bible? God's going to bless me. Sometimes I'll say absolutely nothing, just walk away. And other times I'll say, oh, God always blesses me. I never really know what to say by this whole blessed thing. People are always looking for a way to be blessed. How can God bless me? Will I have if I could just make more money, I'd be blessed. If I could just get my wife to love me more, I'd be more blessed. If I could go see the ball game this weekend, oh, I'd be so blessed. Especially if they win, then I'll be blessed. We call everything a blessing, and so nothing's a blessing. I think. Oh, it's a blessing. Isn't my video a blessing to you? Jesus used this word blessing in his Sermon on the Mount. It's the best sermon that's ever been preached, ever. In fact, he'd had all these people just hanging out with him, and he decided, you know what? I got something really, really cool to share with people that only a few can really hear. So I'm going to go up on this mountain, and those that really want to hear what I have to say are going to come up with me, and everyone else will stay out, and that's fine with me. So he goes up on the mountain. He has only a few people there with him. It doesn't really tell us how many, but a lot of them didn't come. But we do know these were the ones that were really interested in a relationship with God and in learning and hearing what Jesus said. When he got done with the whole thing, it was interesting what they said. Wasn't that the best sermon ever? I mean, this man doesn't speak like the normal preachers do of the day, 2,000 years ago. He speaks as one who has authority. What does that mean? Well, I think it means this. This guy knows what he's talking about. And so you get there into that passage of scripture in uh, Matthew chapter 3, and you read through that and you say to yourself, I'm not sure what this really means about. What is he saying? Especially this blessed are part of it. So I want to share those words with you from the Bible. And to do that, I got to walk over to where my computer is. I'll be right back with you. So here I am at my Bible where I can read to you the words from the New International Version. Okay, I can't read them, but I'm going to play them for you because this is the way I read. I'm very blessed by having this machine to help me because I can't read. So hold on for just a second. There we go. This is how I read. Listen carefully.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Wow. Today we listen to that and we say, what in the world is that supposed to mean? What is the poor in spirit? I don't get it. Let me read for you again a different version of the Bible. I like this one because he goes all these inomens. I don't think that's the right word. You'll know what I mean in a minute. Listen carefully.
You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and His rule.
I like that. That's kind of more like the kind of language I speak. I get that better than blessed are you. I can't remember what it says because it made no sense. But let's listen to this again. If I can get it out one more time. Here we go. Are you ready?
You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God and His rule.
Oh my goodness. You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. You got to be kidding me. God says I'm blessed when I'm at the end of myself because there's more of Him and there's more of His rule. That's interesting. I got to think about that for a minute. I'll go back to my seat over there where it's more comfortable, where I can be blessed because it's more comfortable. And I'll be back in just a second. I know I've shared this about 1 million times when I was in the hospital. And at that point, I couldn't read anything, couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't say the words that I wanted to say. Nothing came out. But God and I had long conversations. And I didn't feel discouraged at all. I felt like God was taking me somewhere. And I knew that I was blessed, even though I didn't even know if I would be able to read again. And to this day, I can get a few words out, but it's really hard to do. I can't read a book or a newspaper or send me a bill. I can't read it. I'll just put it back in the mailbox. Can't read it anyhow. But I felt really blessed. I felt really blessed because I knew that God was going to take me somewhere new. And so I prayed about that. I just spent a lot of time talking to the Lord about where I was going to go, what I was going to do, and how God was going to use me for the rest of my life. And I think I've shared this before that, for the first week or two, I was under the assumption, or I had come to think that my wife and my son had both died. And I don't know if anyone told me they were in the same hospital, or my wife was in the same hospital as I was in. My son didn't have to stay in the hospital. He was okay, but we were there, and I didn't know it. I thought they were both dead. In fact, when my sons came to visit me at the hospital, the one that wasn't in the accident with me, and he was standing there, and my other son that was in the hospital that I thought was dead, as they were sitting there next to me, or standing there next to me, I'm not quite sure how it was, but I remember looking at my younger son and saying, is he here? Is that Aaron? Is he here? Is he alive? I thought it was a ghost. It was him. He was alive. He was well. I remember thinking to myself, well, my wife is dead, and I'll make it somehow. Because God and I are going to do this together. I don't know where this is going to take me. The doctors were saying at one point I probably was going to have to be in a home for a while until I was able to get out, which didn't happen. But that's what they thought. How can I be blessed in the midst of this? How can you be blessed in the midst of the things that come in your life that are difficult, troublesome? It's hard to understand that at all. And yet Jesus said, you're blessed when you're at the end of your road. And all that you have left, I would say that all that you are left, the best thing that you have left, the best thing that you've ever had, ever, is to be with Him alone and work through this together. Then you will be blessed. Take this off for a minute. I'll feel more blessed without it on. Jesus understood what that was like, didn't he? He did, because there were people who persecuted him. By the way, that same passage later on says you're blessed when you're persecuted. Jesus often spent nights just talking to the Father and asking the Father to help him to understand what to do and where to go and how to move next. One point he said, I don't do anything unless the Father tells me to do it. How do you think Jesus, a human being, made it through his entire lifetime without ever sinning one time? Because he waited on the Father over and over and over and over again. And he was blessed by not trying to do it on his own. Another passage says, where there's less of you and there's more of God. That's kind of similar to that one, isn't it? Less of you and more of God, then you're blessed. That's another one of those idioms that comes from that passage that we were looking at a minute ago. Wow. More of you only comes when there's less of you and more of God. Isn't that so true to life, though? And it was true to Jesus. He was this amazing person who could see people and know what their problems were and know them inside and out without them even speaking to him, but he would know it. How did he do that? Jesus would see people and he would know who the right people were to make leaders of for this church. The Father would tell him. He would hear it from God. He would speak to him somehow, some amazing way. It's crazy, isn't it? Jesus is standing in a garden praying, God, I would like for it to be that I should not have to die on this cross. I don't want to die. Do you have any idea what this is going to be for someone to take things and put my hand on a cross and pound nails through them and through my feet and rip my skin right off the back of me? I don't want to do this, God. Jesus says, not my will, but thine be done. For you are blessed when there is more of God and less of you. You are blessed when you are brought down to the lowest ebb of life, and all you have left to do is hear from God. Listen to Him. Wait upon Him. Believe in Him. Trust in Him and know that He is going to tell you the truth, and He is going to take you to another place. It's not over. It's just begun. And so Jesus says, not my will, thy will, Lord. And He dies on the cross, a man who never sinned. And He is given the keys of all of creation. And Jesus is the King of kings, the Lord of lords, the God of gods. The Father says of Jesus, I am going to give you preeminence over all things because of what you have done and who you are. That's pretty blessed, isn't it? You're blessed when it's less of you and more of God. This is going to sound crazy, but it's the truth. I liked it in the hospital. Actually, they had really great food. Can you believe that? The hospital food was fantastic. It really was. The people that were there were great. I mean, I was in there for a month and a half. And out of that month and a half, there was only one person I really didn't enjoy being around. One nurse I didn't care much for. Everyone else was just amazing. It was enjoyable to be there. And as I said, when I was in the first hospital, I couldn't talk yet. I could only say 3 words. I don't remember anything about that except when my sons came, and I told you about that. And I remember when they put me in the van to bring me back here to this state in Iowa and put me in the hospital. I was going to stay in now for about a month after that. And I remember everything since from that point on. So there was all of these opportunities, and I remember sitting there in my room day after day after day. And by then I had known that my wife was alive. As a matter of fact, she had got to the other hospital a couple days before, about a week before I did. And they put me in a room right next to hers. So I could talk to her. I'd say, "Good morning, Judy Spooty." Because that's what I call my wife, believe it or not, Judy Spooty. All the hospital people loved that. They started calling her Judy Spooty too. I'd say, "Good morning, Judy Spooty. Are you coming over, Judy Spooty?" Because she could come over to my room, but I couldn't come over to hers. I wasn't allowed to move my room at that time. We ate some of our meals together. But most of the time that I sat there, I didn't even watch the television. I just sat and I thought, and I prayed, and I wondered. And so often I spent hours of the day just talking to God when I wasn't in therapy. I did 3 things when I wasn't in therapy, every day. Well, 4. I ate, took a shower twice a week as I was allowed to do though. So that was another thing. Third thing was I slept. And the fourth thing was, I prayed. I spent time with God. Because blessed are you when it comes down to just you and Him together. All the accoutrements of life are gone. Nothing else to think about, but to get down deep and say, okay, God, what is this really all about? And to hear from Him. And to know that what He is telling you is the truth, and that you've heard Him. And so that time, and I was in the hospital, I was never worried. I didn't think I was going to die. I was never like, Oh God, please, 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 please. Oh, please do this for me. Please do that. Matter of fact, people would start saying, oh, you'll be able to read again someday. And I'd be like, I don't know if I will or not. Well, you have to, because, you're going to get better. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to work again. Doctor said I probably wouldn't. I do. Didn't know if I'd be able to drive again. Doctor said it's doubtful. But I do now. I drive fine. Well, my wife doesn't always think so. I do have brain damage, and it makes it difficult sometimes. But it's this thing about getting down between me and you, God, me and you. And until we get then, we can't truly find out what blessings are, because all the other accoutrements of life, I like that word, accoutrements, it's one of my favorites. All the other things of life seem to take a preeminence over God and over everything else. It's more important where I'm going to take my vacations, all of these things. But when it gets down to me and thee, God, we find out who we really are. And sometimes we like that, and sometimes there's things about that we might not like very well, about who we really are. But it's a great opportunity to grow and to become more and more of what God had really and always intended for me to be. That's a great opportunity to stop. That's what Jesus did. Every single day of his life, he spent it with the Father. And Jesus, if anybody ever knew who he was in life, Jesus knew, to the point that he would say who he was, He was the King of Kings. He was the Lord. He was the Messiah. People wanted to kill Jesus over that fact that he said he was the Messiah. He knew who he was. I'm not the Messiah. But you come to know who you really are with God when it's me and thee. You're blessed. It has nothing whatsoever to do with having a nice day, or having good food to eat, or getting a new house, or getting married. Those aren't what blessings really are. I hope this helps you. This is a tough subject. And you might be shaking your head right now saying, I don't even know where to go with this thing. It has to get down to where it's me and thee. And we spend time with him. And he teaches us, and he shows us, and he takes us to the next place, to becoming more and more of what you truly can be in him. You truly can be in him. Well, be blessed today. Thanks for joining Whispering Heights Ministry. Hey, be sure to share this. Be sure to become a subscriber, and be sure to like it. I really mean that. That will be helpful. And it'll make me happy and blessed. Not really.